My record scratch. Okay, I'm so excited. Let me make sure that we are good on the YouTube side.
Let me check.
And um all right, yeah, we're on. All right. I came in right at my record scratch moment. Period. All right. So, hey everybody. This is so weird having somebody next to me now. This is exciting. So, I told y'all before that we were going to have guests on my platform, and we finally have the first guest, and I am so excited to have this conversation because first of all, it's been a long time coming. Like we've been talking about this for a minute, like some form of collaboration,
Mhm.
and we're in the same area in the DMV, and so it was like we had to make this happen at some point. But I felt like this was the perfect time because I feel like our paths are really like coming together in a way where it's overlapping in a way that makes sense.
Yep.
And so I'm glad that we get to have this conversation and talk about systems, being a creative, being able to have things that support you as a creative so that you can make this something that is profitable for you and you can really see what it looks like to build a system for yourself that allows you to not depend on the algorithm to give you what you need to sustain yourself. And then one of the things that I'm especially excited about for this conversation is how you handle life happening and things coming at you because I feel like especially now we're at a place where a lot of people are learning new things about themselves. Many of us are in different stages in our lives where it's like we got new stuff happening that ain't never happened before, and we got to navigate that. We're getting married, having children. Like so much is going on, and so much is shifting in our lives. And so, how do you still maintain as a creative? How do you still build something for yourself and for your community while also making sure you're taking care of yourself as well and it being done in a way that's realistic, you know, like something that you really can rock with. So I'm really excited to have Jonathan on, y'all, the expertise, our systems architect.
Yes.
And if y'all familiar with the creative thinking styles, you know why that really's got my antennas going. So
Yeah.
I want to give Jonathan a chance to introduce himself, and we're gonna just start yapping, y'all.
Oh man. Okay. I'm so happy to be here. I think, first of all, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I think you framed our conversation perfectly. Um, Something that I think is the undercurrent of everything we're going to talk about really stems from how you said, like, we've been trying to make this happen and it finally has. And I think the word that came to me while you were giving your introduction is fit. Like, there's
Yeah,
finally a good fit. And so, if you don't take anything else away from this conversation, whether it's, some aspects of the system conversation from my side, if it's creative thinking styles or content creation from, Jada, from your side, I just want to encourage our listeners to find something that works for them and be comfortable and okay if something that maybe pop culture or the algorithm pushes your way that's not for you. Like it's okay to not necessarily fit everything, but I think when you find something that truly does work for you and you lean all the way in, I think that's where the real magic happens. So that's my preamble to say my name is Jonathan Tease, aka the expertise. Social media marketing strategist is my skill set, but I've more recently over the past say 3 to 6 months, or I'm sorry, six months to a year at this point, have really been leaning into like what it means to build systems. And it's not just content systems, it's not just marketing systems or not even monetization systems, but systems of all type.
yeah,
And I've really leveraged my ability to be a systems thinker, can't, and apply that to the skill set and the mindset of creativity. So I really found a way to blend the two, and that's what brought me here today.
yeah. Okay, I love that, and I love the nod to the systems thinking because we got a backstory on that too. But um, I want to say so. For the people who are meeting you for the first time,
Mhm.
what would be the best way to like sum up what you do? Like if you were
Yeah,
to explain it to them
yeah.
simply few words, what would you say?
Um, Mark content strategy and marketing is the simplest way if you ask me in my day to day. But given what I understand, I've been in the industry since its inception, right? So my very first gig was helping people build Facebook pages before Facebook was advertising, and like in introducing social media as a lead generation tool back then.
Yeah.
So because of that, I've just always been a part of a setup, entrepreneur setup process, whether it was a creative business, whether it was um, a for-profit, like a large corporation. And so I've always been able to see how things are built. And so I've just kind of taken over time and just living life. I've been able to take what I do and apply it to different aspects of life. So again, like I said, even down to health and wellness, monetization, content, but strategist, content strategy, marketing strategy, life
Yeah.
strategy.
I especially love the idea of the systems like being realistic for your life.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit behind the scenes about how there has been a lot of conversation lately about serving people who have not up until this point been serviced in the way that they should be. So like when I say that, I'm talking about people who have been made to believe that they have to fit into a particular content strategy, or people who feel like they have to operate their business a certain way, or people who believe that entrepreneurship is only can look one way. Even being a creator and considering yourself a creative, there has been so many stipulations and ways that people have been made to feel like they don't belong there. And so I would love to hear what you have been noticing as it pertains to that, especially now, like in this current climate with creators, and there being a lot more people who are creating content, but it's not as many people who are finding success in doing it, and they're coming up against a lot of challenges, especially when it comes to being paid for it. And so what are some things that you're starting to recognize like as a trend?
Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of alluded to the fact the word that we said behind the scenes was neurodivergent,
Yeah.
which that whole concept was complete. I was completely blind to it until I moved to the DMV. I'm married to an educator, so in that space, the processing of children's minds is something that they highly value.
Yes.
And so in fact, they have to plan for it sometimes. And so it didn't even cross my mind that that was something to even plan for until a couple years ago. And so juxtapose that with what I said, I'm 15, 20 years into the social media marketing industry, and I haven't been thinking about the specialness, the uniqueness of each individual's mind and setup for over a decade. So
Mm.
I do recognize that there is a shift. And I think part of what we're seeing is acceptance of the fact that there are differences. And
Yeah.
I think that that allows us to really carve our safe space, our little corner of the internet. Because the other shift that I'm noticing is that we're becoming a lot more community based,
Mm.
right? And so if my community also shares maybe my same neurodivergence or my same, a certain trait per se, then I can find comfort of knowing these people are like me, which is what we really want as individuals in a society anyway.
Yeah. I definitely see that. Even when you think about what is it? What's it? Interest based
Hmm.
algorithms, interest based
Hmm.
media, and how it's like really people wanting to identify with something and finding the places where people have similar interests as them, similar challenges as them. Even if it's not the same culturally, which I think is pretty cool because it kind of does transcend culture. And I feel like it's getting us outside of like what we're used to or what we grew up with.
Hmm.
But you're finding people like all over who are connecting on similar philosophies and even political views,
Hmm.
whether that's a positive or negative thing.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine this. Once upon a time, I was I was only allowed to connect with the people that I could directly access. I walk outside my door, the people on my street, I go to school or work or wherever, church or wherever. Those are the people that I have like direct access to. So my worldview has since expanded. I can hop on these apps. I can be in East Africa
Yeah.
with the click of a button. And me and this person now have the opportunity to find commonality, whatever it could be. And I think we're starting to see what that freedom is starting to take shape into.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And I love that I love that it feels like it's also giving people who would never have the opportunity to be seen, is
Mhm.
giving you a chance to actually be recognized for what it is that you're interested in. Like, I know that that was the experience that I had with TikTok, which is
Mhm.
what I clocked as the biggest reason why I was drawn to it. So, like, a lot of times people will say, I feel like I could be myself over here. Like, I don't feel like I have to perform or pretend. I can just be me.
Mhm.
And for me, I did have that, but the what my understanding of it was is that I am now finding people who were looking for what I'm talking about, and
Yeah,
people who identify with my way of thinking or this method that I have to achieve X, Y, and Z. And so it does feel like it's really exciting. And I also want to hear from you before we move on to the next question that I got. I do want to know, like, what do you see as the biggest opportunity for the people who are in this creator game, whether they are monetizing as a content creator and they are trying to get brand deals, or they're trying to get paid from the platform payouts, or on the other side where there are people who are creating content to market for their businesses. So,
yeah,
like, what are some things that you're seeing as major opportunities for them to help them to see some better results?
absolutely. And so before I get into that, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. My production assistant just heard the garage door go open. So if we hear anything, I want to be as professional as possible. I cannot control this mama.
Got it.
But so fingers crossed, man. You train them up. You hope that they do right, and it's moments like these that test that training.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so opportunities. You know, right before this call, I was on a meeting with another creator who has taken her artistry. She's a singer
Mm-hmm.
and has leveraged that into a cultural festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's got 20K plus followers. You know, she's sold, you know, 2,000 tickets like for the past 4 years to her events. Like she's
Mm.
been building up something that's regional, but in her eyes, it's big.
Yeah.
And as we were running the numbers, you know, she's done it same time of year every year. So one, that consistency within, you know, your thing. If you're gonna do it, have a multi-year outlook on it.
That's good.
First and foremost. So again, I think that we are so short-sighted, right? Short form content. We forget the fact that this content is going to outlive us.
Yeah. That's so
So
true.
so just to kind of set the mindset. Then as we were running her numbers, we found out that she sold more tickets from January to April this year, like 300%. That story, and this is the I say all that to say this to tell you to say this. That story needs to be communicated. You got to
Yeah.
communicate it to your audience like, hey, we're really gaining traction here. But then also communicate it to your partners or brand deals like, hey, this is a movement you want to be a part of. And
Yeah.
so the opportunity that exists is, again, as a marketer, we've never had this kind of access to that kind of data as a creative. So the power is in your hands.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that made me excited for her and y'all
Yeah,
to have like that that insight, because
man.
That also, I'm sure, can play into what it is that you have going on, which we're going to get into a little bit later.
Yeah,
But because I'm sure there's some overlap in the audiences, so that's beautiful. I
yes,
love that.
yeah. I'm so excited for her. I think that there's and this is a time where passion can actually pay, and so many people have had that. It's tired advice: follow your passion, the money will come, and all that good stuff. And I do believe that's true to an extent. However, I don't think that it's always been actionable. And I think that
Mm.
now we're if you're crafty enough, you can find ways to do something that you truly enjoy and find profit from it.
Period. That
Yeah,
I definitely, that's so funny. I was actually having a conversation about that too. But before we keep going, I do want to shout out Adrian who's in the
yeah.
chat. Hi Adrian. I said hi, but I like to say it verbally. So
Oh,
just in case you're not by the chat. Um
hi,
Adrian is
Adrian.
a regular viewer.
Yeah,
Absolute gem. I see a interview for us in the future as well. So I'll be excited when we have that conversation. But okay. So I want to talk about this title that you have here.
yeah,
Okay. We
yeah.
see systems architect
Yep,
down there at the bottom. That is his
yep.
title.
Right there.
And I know that that's a very intentional name. And I want to hear what it means to you. Like, what does systems architect mean to you? And why were you intentional in combining those two?
Yeah. Well, I had talked about, in a previous segment, I talked about finding a community and really that translates like finding your niche.
Yeah.
And so when I think about what is the value that I've added any situation that I've been a part of, whether it was my own entrepreneurial endeavor, whether it is um, you know, creative endeavors like I mentioned with the festival, my festival, or what I bring to organizations in the moments that I've worked in corporate or even freelance, right?
Yeah.
The thing that is has always been consistent is I was always drilling down to the infrastructure or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I continue to, become astute and just get experience in the business world, um, another word for infrastructure is system, right?
Mm.
And that profitable business, not just profitable business, but sustainable businesses are a collection of systems built on top of each other.
Mm.
And so when I think about what that looks like, um, and what that meant, I really wanted to be the person that crafted the system because again, you could have a system, but it could also not fit you.
Yeah.
And so really trying to drill down into okay, well this is how you are navigating your life, this is how your life is set up. You've got kids, you've got a family, you've got obligations, you can't get out of those, but you also have this dream and this passion. So let's figure out how we can build something that works within the confines that already exist. And so marketing me said, hey, you're a systems architect.
I love, okay. So I feel like that explains a lot of the systems part. And I feel like the architect has a little like extra pizzazz to it. Like
Pizzazz,
it's got a
Nigel.
little it's got a little something special to it. And so
Yeah,
what I'm hearing is that not only is it about building the systems, but it's really about creating the one that makes the most sense for the person, for their life, for the business that they're building, for the way that their mind functions. Like would you say that that's accurate?
yeah. I mean, think about what an architect does for a building, right? Like you have schematics, they draw them all up. You look at it, looks good. Yep. Okay. Based on the land that's available, I think the structure is sound.
Yeah.
And so that same concept applied to a business operation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So when did this name come to you? Because I know you didn't start out as a systems architect. So like
Yeah.
when did
Yeah.
you realize, wait, that's what it is?
Yeah. I went through a rebrand November 2025
Mm,
was the end of one phase of my life and the beginning of another. And at that time, I kind of was at a crossroads. I was not working corporate anymore. I
mm,
was really in my bag. I had just moved to the DMV on top of
yeah.
everything. So I'm in a new location. So the things that I had previously known were being stripped away. And so
Mm,
I allowed myself the opportunity to be vulnerable in that as related to my business. That was one of the reasons why I decided to pause and like not take on clients because I really wanted to just go through my own process. And as I did, I realized, okay, we're in this social media world, we're in this AI and, enhanced world. Once upon a time, people were contracting me because they just didn't have the time or skill set to create content.
yeah.
And I do love content. I'm really good at it. I'm a great storyteller. However, that's not the core of the value that I bring beyond that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so really kind of drilling down, like, what is something that I do so well that again brings value that's intricate, integral to operations and hopefully future proof. And
Yeah.
so as I was just kind of going through that process again, I recognized that um, my connection to an operations infrastructure. I'm gonna keep going back there because it's important. And I think so often we get, especially the creatives that I like working with. I love working with creatives, but creatives just like to create.
Yeah.
And then you look up and you've painted this beautiful picture and realize you've got no eyeballs on it. And
Yeah.
that's the problem that I was hoping I could get ahead of and hopefully give guidance to that process.
Mm. That actually asks, it brings up something that I would love to ask you.
Mhm.
Um, and I want to see if I want to ask that now or if it will be better later. But I think I'm gonna pause on that. I'm gonna come back to that. But I do want to talk a little bit about, what was going on in your life when this rebrand happened, because I know that it was really part of it was forced on you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
And so I would love for you to tell us a little bit about like what was going on.
yeah. Well, and I'm not even sure how much I shared with this, ahead of this conversation, but in November, that the date that I referred to was actually terminated from a corporate client.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so more or less it was sink or swim.
Yeah.
Um, and if I said 25, I really meant 24.
Okay.
So this is about a year ago. I had just got married. I had moved to the DMV, took a remote job, and I was like, okay, I'm getting settled into a new place. And that forced me to then turn the entrepreneur switch back on, which is never fully off, right?
Yeah.
But it just means, okay, now I've got to reposition the work that I do.
Mm.
Um, and in that repositioning, again, every market has different needs. And what I had said when I moved here, and the reason why I was like, I'm really going to lock in and take care of home base was I needed time to understand exactly what the DMV market needed, right?
Mm.
And so in Atlanta, where I was kind of cut my teeth and came up while I was at Morehouse, by the way, Morehouse, when I was coming up in Atlanta and this was like the TI Future, early, music days and I'm cutting my teeth in the music and arts industry in that time frame, in that period. Okay, you want somebody who's like a one man shop that can get in and just kind of get the shots, get piece it together and get you something out really quickly.
Yeah.
When I pivoted and I transitioned to Phoenix and I'm dealing with more corporate clients, Phoenix is a basically LA Junior. And so
Mm.
if I present myself as like a one man band, they look at you like you're small time. And it's like,
Mm.
oh, okay, I need to present as a more rounded corporation. I'll be the face of the corporation and my team will service the account kind of situation. So then
Mm.
I moved to the DMV and it's like, okay, I'm not really sure what you need. So I really
Yeah.
want to spend some time really figuring out what you need. And so that was a part of the rebrand from the time we met
Yeah.
till, to reconnecting online. That was it's still forced, a forced transition, but that's how that came about.
Gotcha. Okay. So I definitely didn't know about that. Like I figured that I think when we met it was maybe like getting towards the end of, or I
Hmm.
mean you were saying like there was a basically like you were saying that there's like a deadline on this. I feel like, and so you
Yeah.
were thinking like future, what does it look like to transition? So I feel like we were kind of having that conversation.
Yeah, like like I mean, and I'm a very spiritual person. Like I feel like I get intuitions. I just I felt it on me. And so I'm never going to allow myself to be caught flat-footed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like take the
So,
warning when it come.
yeah, like, I just, and as best I can, I'm gonna do my best to be proactive. So, that, and in that, right, that related to me wanting to kind of get out and network, because again, I had been very insular, like you know focused on home. And so when we connected at that time, you were preaching getting unshy.
Yep.
And while I'm not shy, I could relate to that, just and your approach too through fashion. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting like mesh of worlds. So I love that.
Yeah. We just so y'all know, we actually met at this dinner that was put together by Kenya Kelly,
Mhm.
and she was in town, and she was like, "All right, y'all want to have dinner with me? Pull up." And so everybody that was in that restaurant, was the busboys and poets. Everybody that was in that restaurant did not know each other. Like we
Yeah,
all just like just gonna meet with a bunch of people and see where it goes. And that's where Jonathan and I met. And we at by the end of that dinner, I remember everybody felt like my
pushed
people.
up.
It was like we
Yeah.
were dapping each other up, giving each other hugs and stuff. Like it was like a really nice energy, and everybody there was creative in some
Hmm.
way.
Now take that, because I felt the exact same way. Like there were about 3 or 4 people at the table. And I'm like, yo, y'all get me, and just layer that on top of what I said about being community based and like focused. Like that's it. To walk in a room or to sit down at a table and break bread with people that just get you,
Yeah.
that to me is the opportunity that we have in front of us now.
Yes, and we were talking about that even then because at the time I was telling you about my idea for socially awkward hour, and I was like, I don't even know if I had the name at that point. I think I kind of came up with the name after the fact, but I knew that I wanted to create more environments like that because I felt like it was a really cool way to bring the social media side
Mhm.
into real life and just kind of like have them like play into one another.
Mhm.
And I remember being like particularly interested by all the questions about TikTok because I
Yep.
remember you were not messing with TikTok when we
Still
met.
not like, I know I should and will. I promise you I will. But and I think there's space for us to talk about that too, right? Like it just doesn't fit. What attracted me to even this opportunity was like, yo, ultra long form content. Oh,
Yeah,
you got my attention. I come from a media film background. Um, I was a professional journalist for several years. To me, my value is in my words and my desire to think and express a complex thought and like
yeah,
draw it out. Like I really want to get into the nooks and crannies of an idea. I want to build a case and then I want to tear it down. I want to build a case and try to persuade you to see it my way. Like,
yeah,
and that's really hard to do. And at the time, TikTok was popularized by like trends and dances. And don't get me wrong, like that's fun and that's cool, but that's not. I wanted to be so much more than that. So I was completely turned off by it.
yeah. You know what's funny is as you're saying that now, I hear the your inspirational thinking coming out because like it has to have meaning for you. Like
Yeah.
it's like it feels pointless. I don't get it. Why should I be here when this is not even what? Like it doesn't make sense for who I am and what I want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to get into like the creative thinking
Yes,
style?
I feel like that's a perfect segue into it.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all. Jonathan took the quiz. He took the creative thinking style quiz. We've
Loved
already
it.
pretty much given away what his we've given away what his two styles are, but I would love to hear about I would love to hear like what caught your attention about it, because I didn't like directly pitch it to you or anything. Like you saw it and you was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
that's cool. Let me try it out." So, tell me about that.
Yeah. So just the way my mind works is I look at something and I'm gonna look at it on multiple levels, right? So just because we have a relationship, I'm like, oh, I wonder what Jada's up to. Oh, she's got this quiz. One, again, marketing mind. I know that a quiz is a like under the radar hook, right?
Yeah.
Something in the mind wants to answer questions. Okay, the mind is designed to answer questions. So you offer me a quiz and it's going to tell me about me. Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm in. I'm here for that. So I was naturally just intrigued, and then on top of it, I saw what you were doing like as a business model. Like I've been peeping your content. Okay, cool. Content's great. But now you've got this business model that's pulling me further and further in. You're going to give me my style and then you're going to tell me how to use my style. I'm hooked. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. So yeah, I took the quiz um and I am a systems thinker with an inspirational undertone, an inspirational slant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, Antoinette, welcome in. Okay, so tell people how. All right, I'll explain this part, but then you give people the timeline, because this is the part that was like really trippy to me.
Yes.
So, thank you, friend. So the systems is already there, like systems thinker, that's already in the name. But the architect is the no, actually that's the inspirational thinker, but it's like the systems and the architect is like already in the name. And so I want you to let people know like what was the timeline between you giving yourself this title and you taking the quiz. Like which one came first?
Um, I had the name first. I did have the name first, and then I took the quiz and was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Systems thinker makes total sense." Um, what got me was, and I see it now, the more we talk, is our styles are the inverse. Like
Yeah.
your number one is my number two, and my number two is your number one.
Yeah.
So I just think that that's pretty cool. So I would actually like to hear from you. Like, what is it about the inspirational style that fits you, and how have you been using it in your current content strategy?
Oh, I like that question. So, I one of the biggest things that I love about the inspirational thinker is that ideas just be like they just come out of nowhere. Like, and I've always had this understanding that journaling, meditating, even though I'm not really big on meditation, but I do like just like space where like I'm not actively doing anything, even like walking, like things like that. I always knew like this is my time to shine. Like I'm finna get some fire ideas when I go on this walk. And so I realized that that was where a lot of my ideas would come from, but realizing that it was tied to my creative style as an inspirational thinker, it helped me to really like prioritize those moments and make it a part of my everyday rhythm, because I would have times where I would like get up some days and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about today. And it wasn't, I knew that wasn't really the truth, but it felt like there was so much else on my mind. Maybe I wasn't feeling so great about what I posted the other day, or maybe I'm feeling like, man, my content hasn't really been performing, and maybe I'm in a slump because of that. And so I would get to places where it's like, I don't know what to do. Like I don't know what to talk about. I'm gonna put the phone down because I don't know what to do. And
Mm,
so the understanding how the ideas come to me is helped me to create a system for myself where I know how to like basically tap into my inspiration. Like I don't want to say it's hacking because it really isn't. Like I always have ideas coming to me, and even before this I always did, but I wasn't always mindful to capture them. And
mm,
because it was almost like I was taking it for granted. It was like, oh, I always got ideas. I
mm.
always got something going on. And there would be some times where I would complain about it, like, oh, so it's too many ideas in my head. And I feel like a lot of creatives can, we can relate to that, where
Yeah,
we don't realize that it's really a gift that we're able to
yeah,
come up with the things that we do, even when it feels overwhelming at moments. I've learned to not take it for granted and really not to complain about it, because that's
yeah.
that's gold right there.
Absolutely, man. There's so much to like kind of parse through what you just said. I I do feel like our as a creators we take our creativity for granted. And there are people who genuinely struggle with creativity, and I'll be honest, and sometimes it's difficult for me to relate to them because I don't.
Yeah.
Um, However, what I do know, and this is part of a meditative process for me, is that I do recognize that you get more of what you focus on, right? And so, like you said, if you felt overwhelmed and would complain about the fact that there's too much, then that kind of gave you like a cause for pause. Then that's kind of what the energy that you're giving. And so I could see how that would show up as inconsistency in your output because you're
Yeah.
like stop because they're okay guy,
He's like, no, my time.
like I'm ready for my close up,
Yeah. Pass me the mic.
bro, give me the assist. But yeah, so I say all that to say, man, just be careful. Be careful. Your words are powerful, right? Um, Something else that I really appreciated is, like you said, like you had all these ideas coming in. Something that I found to be super helpful, a simple note in my phone, but
Yeah.
I keep a note called dope ass content, right? And it's just okay.
I
Anytime I
love the
get
name of your notes. I need to change mine now.
yeah, like because okay, inspirational. I gotta want to open up this note. So if I keep a note and okay, dope ass content. What do I want it? What is so dope that it belongs in this note?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I like that energy. No, I had to think of a cute name for mine now. Like I got to go in like this. These are gems, Jada.
Yeah.
Like don't sleep on this stuff.
Nah,
Talk to it nice.
but that's the whole point. Somebody in the chat said law of attraction is always in play. Having mad ideas is a gift and a curse. Yeah, bro. Like, I mean, again, you could be the opposite. You could be the person who struggles to get ideas.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that I've never been somebody who struggled with the ideas, but I would get stuck on the execution of it. And
Yeah.
like that was the part that I felt really became clearer, because like you were saying, when you stop treating it like it's a problem and you start treating it like it's a blessing, like it's something that is good, it only generates more. And
Yeah.
so what I found is that the more I understood my creativity, the more I learned how to put it into a system that
Hmm.
works for me, that I can keep going with. It's like everything start it's like a abundance of not just ideas, but it was like things just started to flow in a way where it feels like I'm in alignment. And when I was recognizing what was going on, I was like, yo, people need to know that this exists. Like
Yeah.
this is a thing.
Absolutely. So first of all, Jada's Gems is the name of your new note.
Jada's
So let's
gems.
just go ahead
I
and
love
jot
it.
jot that
Thank you,
one
Kayla.
down. Jot that one down. Um, but yeah, aligning with that feeling of abundance, right? It's something to get back to the question that you were asking me earlier about the forced pause, right? in my downtimes, I've had several throughout my life, but in those downtimes, something that I guess I innately do
Yeah.
is I try my absolute best to focus on the positives. And I must be in this situation for a reason.
Yeah.
And what could that reason possibly be? As little glimmer of hope as I can cling on to, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, that's I don't know. I'm just naturally wired that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But to your point about just aligning with that sense of abundance, you get more of it. I've
Yeah.
truly have experienced that multiple times.
And I feel like that is a beautiful segue. My eyes watering, but it's watering at the perfect time. It's like I'm getting emotional. But before I want to get into your health,
Yeah,
and I want to talk a little bit more about that because I feel like this is like the perfect time to talk about that, especially when
mhm,
you talk about seeing the positive in it and being wired that way. But
yeah,
before we do that, I want to ask everybody that's here to do me a favor. If you haven't already, make sure you like the live and to share it out for me. I really want the shares because I didn't get to share it out again. So I would appreciate it if y'all like put it out to a platform, any platform of your choosing, Threads, Instagram, wherever. And when you share it, let people know what the conversation is about, or just share what you're taking away from it so far, especially if you've been enjoying what we've been talking about, which I feel like it'd be hard not to because it's been some good stuff that we've been talking about already. We really just getting started. So
oh,
we're about to get into one of the biggest milestones that has happened in
yeah,
Jonathan's life.
yeah,
And I really want to get into that because I feel like that taps into what we were talking about earlier with uh, being able to create a system that makes sense for your life. And there was a video that you put out on your Instagram that
mhm,
everybody should check out after this. But you were talking about what it like how it feels to be starting over
yeah,
again in your journey. And I want you to talk a little bit about like what inspired that and what happened in your life that brought that on.
yeah. So at the top of the year, I'm in my living room right now. I'm looking at a shelf that has 12 bottles on it, bottles of champagne, little mini bottles, and I wrote goals on it. And one of the goals, was centered around, things that I saw for myself in my creative career, and how I really wanted to pursue, um, milestones I wanted to hit.
Mm,
And I had again I talked about the transition from freelancing and then kind of pouring into my own creativity, my own business. I really focused and gave myself energy that I hadn't given myself in a really long time.
mm,
And so that came with giving myself actually executable plan, right? So again, I was even more souped up when I took your quiz. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about this the right way. It was validating for me.
yeah.
Um, but I'm like, okay, like we're really moving in the right direction. I have bulk created content, and then ready again using my storytelling chops. I was really gonna kind of create this narrative over the span of months, um, or at least multiple weeks. And I was ready to roll it out. I was following kind of the plans, and then I went to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor noticed something in some scans to then send me to um, a specialist. And the specialist was like, hey, this is bad. And if you
Mm,
don't go to the hospital right now, I mean, he didn't say these words exactly, but you could lose your eyesight. So he hand wrote me a letter that basically like walked me through the emergency room to get, you know, the surgery that I needed. Um, I wound up having to cut off all my hair, so I'm bald. I used to have long hair, and it really took me out of the game for about a month and a half. Just like as I was really starting to get the ball rolling, and I felt committed, I felt supported. Like I had everything around, you know,
Yeah.
that was gonna help. I felt like elevate me, and I told that story after having a conversation with my after having a conversation with one of my accountability partners, because he's like, man, one, you really just need to share just for the sake of sharing, but
Mm.
also there's somebody else who needs to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And like you with, I think we talked about aesthetic. I can't remember if that was before the show or on the show, but I was like, man, I don't even look like the content that I created anymore. So like,
Mm.
why, how am I going to take what I have and how do I want to pivot it? And I really just felt like, you know what? I'm going to keep creating, and I'm going to keep, I'll find a new way. I'll find a new angle. Again, ideas keep coming. So I'm not really concerned about that. And so, yeah, just post what I got, tell the story, but also like I wanted to be speak my truth. Like I was frustrated
Yeah.
because the consistency I felt like has always been something that I like I'm often like grasping for, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was finding it, but this wasn't necessarily something that I had control over. So yeah, that was the essence of the conversation.
Wow. I felt like I could relate to it even without it being the exact same scenario
Hmm.
because I talked a little bit about the consistency part and what I was coming up against. And when you add that into feeling like there was a lot of pivots that I was making as well, and trying to find which avenue made the most sense. Like it felt like I was like still like, making these little tweaks and differences to find the alignment that I was not feeling. Like something still felt like it was falling flat, something still felt like it was a little off. And feeling like every time I pivoted, it felt like starting over. It felt like starting from scratch, and not necessarily because I felt like everything that I had did up until this point didn't matter, but I didn't know how it fit. Like I didn't know what this actually looked like and where
Hmm.
this fit in the grand scheme of things and where I was going now. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people can relate to, regardless of how they got to that point. And I feel like for you, I don't know if you've got to this place yet because all of this is pretty recent. Like the health stuff is pretty recent,
Hmm.
but it does have me wondering. What outside of being able to share it and be vulnerable and being able to relate to people on that part, do you feel like there is an aspect to what you've gone through that is going to play into your role as a systems architect? Like, do you see where it fits or is informing those decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so first, I want to just tell you that, like you, and again, maybe this is the inspirational part. I completely resonate with, man, it's got to make sense,
Yeah,
right? And that's why TikTok never made sense for me. Um, at least as it was being presented at the time.
yeah,
Um, and so for what I've gone through now, absolutely does it inform decisions because, well, first of all, it sparked a level of motivation that was always there. I've always been a motivated person, but it also reminded me like, man, listen, it can be taken away from you. It's fickle. Life is fickle. Inspiration is fleeting, right?
yeah,
Like, so when you have it, you really do have to like capitalize, but not necessarily go about it like in a rampant way or something like that, like a way that kind of pulls you maybe too far to one extreme, but absolutely, don't be naive enough to think that it's going to last forever because it may not. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, it 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 overemphasized how dependent on me the entire process is.
oh,
Mhm.
I know that was big for you as a systems thinker.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayla, I am a systems thinker with an inspirational slant.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Antoinette, she definitely helped you out. But yeah, yeah, and I'm fortunate for me that I'm in a position now, and we can talk about like what I'm doing currently for, for employment. But another reason why I felt so heavy on like the pause from freelancing and everything was I truly wanted the space to be introspective as to what I wanted or what I wanted my business to look like,
Yeah.
what opportunities were important for me to pursue. So thankfully, there wasn't like a lead generation model that I was banking on at that time. Now, a year ago, this time a year ago, I'd be SOL.
Yeah.
Like, man, it was me. Go out there, go get it. Oh, you can't go get it? Too bad.
Yeah.
So for thankfully that's not the situation that I'm in now. However, it motivated me even more to build something um that does work outside of me having to show up and contribute every single day.
I love that. And it does lean perfectly into what you do and what we're going to get into a little bit
Yeah.
later, y'all. We're going to talk about it. I promise we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
So I
You
want to,
gotta set it up.
yeah, no, we got
Give
to,
the
yeah, set the
give the
atmosphere.
give the context, man. Let the people come in,
Tease
tell
them a
us,
little bit.
yo,
That's the ultra long form way. So I want to read some of the comments because they're
yeah,
definitely coming through. So Adrian said definitely went through something similar for years. During that time, I chose to focus on what I could still do and still had agency over. I love that,
absolutely, yeah.
Adrian.
The agency over part is big. I don't want to
Yeah.
like gloss over that. There now, when stuff happens, I've shared, there's been multiple things throughout my life that have kind of pulled me off the board for a little bit, or at least like forced me to like take a step back and like rethink. And that sense of there could be a sense of helplessness that you feel. And so I can completely relate to grasping on to like, hey, this is what I can control. This is what I can impact in this moment right now. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. So, okay. So, we've talked a little bit about your health and what you've been noticing that is almost like the rearranging that you decided that you wanted to do to accommodate that and to be able to still show up and be a creative. And so I would love to get a peek into what are some of the systems that you already have established for yourself.
Yeah,
And I wanted you to talk a little bit about your personal brand too, because that is
absolutely.
something that's a new
Yeah,
endeavor. And you're
yeah,
leaning into that now,
yeah,
and I want to give like get thought process behind you choosing to go that route, like the personal brand route.
yeah. Man, and thank you for asking that question. Um, you know, I'll start with the why. The big picture why is I really want, like, legacy is important to me.
Mm,
And so I definitely wanted something that in the future my kids can look back and really see a library of thoughts, ideas. So thought leadership also like really matters. And if you know me, anything I say online is not new, right?
yeah.
Like the conversation we had at the table sounds very much like a conversation we're having now, 2 years later. And so I I just wanted to have a way to like archive the thoughts, the ideas, but then also share at scale. Because as I was coming up, there wasn't a me to like reach back
Mm.
and help out. And so if I could be that for I have a kid sister. She's starting school senior or freshman year in college this upcoming year.
Ooh,
So
that's a
God
big
help
step.
us.
Are
God
you
help
okay?
us. I might pass out at the thought of that. But like she can look back and like, tap big bro. And I just wanted to make sure that there's something like that for other people that want to follow in this space. Think about this creativity, like in this space and social media. I think I think Facebook can barely buy a drink.
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So it's still very much so in like its formative days, its formative years, right? And so I really wanted to just prioritize something that could be value for years to come, that could lay a blueprint. So that was my why. And
Yeah.
the way I felt about doing that, my brand is the expertise. Like, what does that mean? Like, really lean into that. And so, okay, how? Here we are.
Yeah. I love that. First of all, I'm always on board with a personal brand. If it was up to me, everybody would have one. Everybody technically does have one, but
Yeah,
some people leverage it, some people don't. But I love the idea of just like getting in front and just sharing the message, like
yeah,
getting the point across. And
hmm
I've found that it's just so much easier for me to just like tell you, like, let me just talk to you and tell you what's up. Like, I don't have enough time right now to just try to make a whole persona and, like, be the person behind the scenes. Like, no, let me just turn this camera on. Let me
yeah.
talk to you real fast. Like,
But
listen
and
to this.
I also feel like our authenticity just shines through. And
Yeah,
so that is a word that gets used a lot or faked a lot, as you're trying
correct.
to be, inauthentic. But if you really got the juice, I think you could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can feel it. And I've always been a really good judge of that. Like, I don't know what kind of superpowers I got, because I like to believe that they're superpowers, and
hmm
y'all just gonna have to feel how you feel about that. But I feel like it's a superpower. And
Absolutely.
I be seeing people, and I'm like, I can tell, like, I can see it. And even when it's people whose content is more performative, you can still sense the
Yeah.
genuineness about it. Like, like, it's just something about it. And I have found that, like, even if to me, it doesn't make a difference whether it's on camera or in person. Like,
hmm
somebody's gonna have to represent this brand,
Yep.
like. And if I chose to go the faceless route, but I want to expand beyond social media, you're going to have to see a face. You're going to have
Yeah.
to talk to somebody. And
hmm
so to me, it just felt like cutting out all the extra stuff and just going straight to the person.
Yeah. You can't get around the social part of social media.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the systems that you have for yourself currently
Yeah.
that are, I mean, even if it's not completely perfect, or like what you exactly want, like what you got set up for yourself right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So first things first, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head about like having the personal life like supported, right? So I'm fairly newlywed, and I have to say like having my home base in alignment is
Mm,
so important. So by no means do I claim to be like a marriage expert or nothing like that. Because again, I'm just a couple years in. Like literally, I'll be 2 years in in July. And
yay.
abs- let's go.
Yes.
Marriage is so cool, y'all. It's so cool. Don't let nobody tell you differently. It's so cool.
Yeah, you gotta talk. We gotta talk about that too. But go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
But just having like my home system in place, my wife works. She's an assistant principal, so she works like in the school. So just our process of getting her out the house, we've incorporated fitness into our morning, just as a part of
Mm,
my recovery, just a part of her just overall health and wellness. So making sure that we still prioritize like fitness. Um, when it was just me, like yoga was almost like a daily practice.
I
So
like yoga.
I'm a yogi. And I will sometimes swap it out with meditation. But again, just I say all that to say like your mornings, I feel like winning the mornings is so important. And days
Mm,
that I don't win the mornings, I can tell.
really?
I can totally tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just the personal, like on a personal side, work wise, I have a standing Tuesday meeting with the production team that I work with. By the way, I create content for Zion Church. I bridge the children's church and the production. So this is like a big church. Every Sunday is like a four show concert.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Four services. And so there's a whole team dedicated to both the in-service production and as well as the online production.
Yeah.
And so I bridge the gap between the children's church. But every Tuesday, I have a standing call with my supervisor that I directly report to in children's church. And then we have like a content review where we call out every single thing that we did well and every single thing that needs improvement. And
Mm.
I treat those like gold. I never miss. I'm always camera on, even when I'm working from home. Like notebook open, ready to go. But it's just that constant like refining review of running the tape back. I treat that like, I mean, it is religion, but like I treat it religiously.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
And so that's something that so that was that something that you established yourself, or
yeah,
did you like kind of come into it and like
yeah,
add your own feedback into creating it?
yeah. No, so that's the beautiful thing. Being a systems person, like I immediately identified the system and just plugged myself right in. But
Nice.
so I can't take credit for that, but we didn't talk about the systems I architected. Like I just really value that system and I really lean into it.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, you could like slack in the meeting, you could hold back content, you could be, trying to multitask or, doing other things, but nah, man, this is our opportunity to figure out what we can do to get better. I don't play with that.
Period. Nah, you
Yeah,
take your job seriously.
super serious. So I love that. And then I'll say one more thing. We talked about that an area that I am aspiring to be better at. Ironically, we're talking about systems. Um, is time blocking and really managing my calendar.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
leveraging my calendar more efficiently. Um, so that when I need to say no, it's easy for me to say no, not necessarily because of me, because I want to do my best to support everybody,
Yeah.
or to be as helpful as possible, and I might do that to the detriment of myself.
Yeah.
But if my calendar says, "Nah, bro, that's can't do that," like your obligations are already kind of full on Tuesday. You can't really run that play.
Yeah.
Then it's not me, it's my system is telling me, helping me make the hard decision that I personally will probably say yes to.
Yeah. The little ones over here.
Let's
Kyrie,
go.
get your headphones on for me. Your headphones. Um, okay. I love that. I love that you shared like your areas of improvement as well. Because I feel like when people hear systems, I feel like it can be a little intimidating if you're not
Yeah.
the most like organized person, or maybe if your form of organization isn't is different. Let's just put it
Yep.
that way. It's different. So I
And
feel like it's cool that you're sharing that. Like, no, I'm human. I have things that I still want to improve on as well. Cause
absolutely. So let's go back. Let's lean in on the architect side, right? So I started this off by saying fit, right? I imagine that there is a creative out there who has like 27 notebooks, and if the the marketing words go in this one, and the visual concepts go over here, and I like to cook, so my recipes go over here, and the schedule goes over here. That might be your bag.
yeah,
It is not my bag. That would drive me absolutely bananas trying to find 27 different notebooks. Nah, bro, I got one notebook that I write everything in, and I date it. So if I can kind of remember, was it spring? I don't know. It was hot. Maybe it was summer. Just find it in the notebook. I just thumbed through like 30 pages. I know I wrote it down. It's here because this the notebook.
that's so. I wish I could be like that. I am the multi notebook person
I
because in
that's
my
why.
head they have to have different purposes. Like, am I the only person that's like that? What? How? Who's the one notebook person and
Mm,
who's the 27 notebook person? Like, let me know because I definitely.
yeah. I mean, now the funny thing is, I have 27 notebooks, but I'm only writing it one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't I it's something in my brain will not let me do it. It's like, no, Jada, that's the wrong notebook. So like I
nah.
literally have like something for everything.
Do you want to know like what gets me? When I get about halfway through, I get excited to get to the end of the notebook so I can start another one.
No, I do that too. I do that
Hmm.
too. I be treating myself like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's time for a new one. Let's get in.
absolutely. Oh man, and then to go into the planner section and like find which one I want in Target, bro. Ah,
Talk about seeing me happy.
yeah.
Don't let me get a new pen too. It's up.
Oh, and a bro, the pen has to like write just the right way. Like I'm a
Yes.
pen snob.
I am too. I am
Hmm.
too. Like I don't
Yeah.
need it to be like too jelly. Like I don't want it to smudge, but then I also don't want it to be like scratching a hole in the paper either.
Hmm.
Kayla said I have like two at home notebooks and two at work notebooks. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Kayla's a multi notebook person.
Mm.
Adrian said, right, schedule in you time so you can pour predictably. I like
Yep.
that.
Absolutely.
Antoinette saying, I switched my morning routine in the last couple of weeks, and the shift is evident for the remainder of my day. So
Yeah,
it
man.
seems like a lot of people are on to the morning. The morning really do set the tone.
Yeah. So when I moved to Phoenix, I I thought that I was going to take over a real estate empire and just kind of really build out Tease Realty Group. It was going to be a thing.
Mm,
Unfortunately, as soon as I got licensed in January of 2020. We know what happened in March of 2020.
yep.
So that really kind of derailed my plans there. But one thing that I took away from the real estate industry were two things: that is ongoing training is invaluable.
Mm,
When you're in a sales like environment, you have to pour into you.
mm,
And so one of the things that I was constantly being poured into was about the importance of how like your calendar, because you know you're taking appointments or whatever. But before I can like I think it was Kayla said, before I can pour into other people, I really have to build a strong me. So I
yeah.
really have to protect that morning time. So that's really when my low key obsession with morning routines kind of came into play, was during that Phoenix season. And I want to say it was somebody else talked about everything. It was Antoinette said that everything that came before, right? Like I needed to go through that phase, because prior to that I was uber creative.
Yeah.
Like all over the place. Like again, I was the 27 notebook guy at that time.
Yeah.
But I really needed to go through like a restructuring of sort. Um, and so hopefully in this phase, in the DMV phase, I'm bringing both of those together.
Yeah, I feel like you are. And I think that that's an interesting concept too, because I feel like a lot of people start out like more creative, at least like in the way that we imagine it, and a little bit more like free spirited and if like more playful and you seems like you're having more fun. But when
Yeah.
you start to realize that you don't have like the systems in place or the infrastructure in place to support it, then we like tend to overcorrect and then we get too rigid and
Mm.
too serious and like then we lose that creative playful fun side that was never bad. It just didn't have the right systems to support it. And
Yeah.
so the people who are fortunate enough to catch it eventually find where that balance is, or at least the more of a balance. And
Mhm.
so I feel like that's even what makes what you do so crucial, because you are allowing the creative to not lose that part of themselves. Like you're not
Yeah.
telling them this is wrong about you. Let's find how we can support what you're doing so that it can last, so that it can go for those 3, 5, 10, however many years that you want
Mhm.
this to go. And that makes me want to get into like what it is that you are doing now, like
Yeah.
through the expertise. But we also have another business, another brand that we want to
Yeah,
bring into the mix as well, because we have something exciting that you have to share, a summer opportunity. And so I want to
yeah,
start making that transition into it. So I want to start though with the expertise and
yeah,
the systems architect. What does the work that you do look like now
yeah,
with the creatives?
yeah, absolutely. So now, first of all, I want to preface this by saying you can't purchase this. You can't book me unless you are, you know, Fortune 500 company that we don't even talk numbers, right? Like I'm not even gonna box myself into that because I understand the value of what I'm about to say. Yeah, let me just preface that I'm not selling what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But for the people that I already do work with right now or that I will work with in the future, I will literally take I sit back, I do an entire audit of everything that I can find on you, on your business. You and I were talking, and I just kind of like, we looked at your funnel,
Yeah.
right? And I just, because I was going through it, because I was genuinely intrigued, and I was like, oh man, yo, okay, this is off, this is great. Everything is great, but hey, let's tweak this because this is broken, right?
Yeah.
But I literally tear through everything that's out there that I can find on a business, and then I I either flip it on its head or I turn it around.
Mm.
So I came into the marketing world through music production. And a big part of music production is you would have like these racks that you would have to wire together. And so if I wired this rack and this rack, they could play at the same time. Or
Mm.
if I wired something else, I could have a completely different configuration. And so I really got good at seeing how things work together. And so my question that I would ask a potential client is how are these individual components of your business working together?
Mm.
An example of that, a tangible example of that is I know somebody who is doing a quarterly magazine, and he's actually printing the magazine, which I think is beautiful. I printed
I
a
love
magazine.
that.
I printed a magazine for a while. I started a magazine in Phoenix called Discover Phoenix. As a realtor, right? So just imagine you're a realtor. You want people to know you, but you don't necessarily want to leave a business card. So I gave you a magazine telling you my favorite things in the city this quarter.
Yeah.
Lovely idea. From my experience, as well as just looking at this business operation, I know that that is difficult to scale. It's
Mm.
either cost heavy or it's time heavy, probably both.
Yeah.
And so my question to this person was, well, I know that it's for a specific group of people, but does it live online anywhere? Could you produce a lighter version that could help you scale further? And maybe the print version now becomes a premium option.
Mm.
We just took that entire model and we just took that entire model and enhanced it potentially. And
Yeah.
so that's the type of analysis that I do, like whether it's from a sales side, whether it's from the marketing, how much and where are the outputs going? Are you
Mm.
on the right platforms? I did an interview not too long ago. It was a coaching session actually that I recorded. And my question, we were going through the thought process, are you prioritizing the right platform?
Mm. Yeah. That's a good question to ask.
Mm-hmm. So everybody naturally navigates, just easily navigates to Instagram, right?
Yeah.
But for someone who's really focused in thought leadership, it's not sexy, but is LinkedIn a better a better platform for you for positioning,
Yeah.
as well as people on LinkedIn are actually looking for opportunities to better themselves, right? To take
Yeah.
courses or buy products more so than the person who's scrolling on Instagram. And I'll wrap all of this up again, just to make my point. When's the last time you actually bought something from one of those ads on Instagram?
Right. Because I got used to scrolling. Oh, that's cool. Scroll.
Yeah, looks nice. All right.
Yeah.
So, just really kind of taking that work and then once we answer some difficult questions, okay, now let's rebuild
Yeah.
the infrastructure. Let's build the process to achieve what we really want. And really taking the time to dig deep and like really figure out what is it that you really want. Like you say you want to, this product, but what you really want, this magazine, but what you really want is an avenue to for people to see your creative work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love that. And it's I'm glad that you prefaced it the way that you did in the beginning because we when we talked a lot about the creatives, like, and the work and the ways that you want to support them and help them. And it's clicking for me that that is going to be done through a different brand than
Yeah,
the expertise.
absolutely.
So let's get into that. So introduce us to the brand
Yeah.
and tell us a little bit about what you do in it and what your mission is.
Yeah, I am kicking myself because out of frame is a hat that I meant to grab so I could really be like brand centric. I am branding the expertise.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm the owner of Love, co-owner of Love. Love is an acronym. It stands for Love and Value Everything. And the way Love came about when I was in Atlanta, myself, Greg Brown, who is an Emmy-nominated TV and film producer for reality shows, um, Alfred Nomad, who is a artist and activist, international artist and activist living in LA, myself, and there was one other gentleman. His name was Carl. We later added a Bib, who was a um, cultural influencer, if you will. He's from Jamaica, but he's
Okay.
got ties into all of the political landscapes. But we were all kind of in Atlanta hustling together side by side. So it's like that whole like network horizontally. And we decided, like, our powers, our superpowers mesh well together. And
Mm.
so why don't we like come together and form an organization where we can support each other and push our work together further? And that's how Love came about.
Oh, so it was originally for y'all. So
Yeah,
it was
it
to,
was us.
yeah.
So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
It's
so
like it
like
sounds like an episode of Making the Band.
absolutely, it definitely was. It definitely was. Just at that time, I wasn't the systems architect, but I kind of felt like in hindsight, like, yo, just pull these pieces here. You know what I'm saying? You sing the hook, you over here on the verse, you know what I'm saying? Die line, die line, die line, die line.
Right, because I spit hot fire.
Yeah, I rip when I rhyme when I rip. But no, it truly was. I mean, again, at that time, there weren't spaces for us to do what we're doing now. Like you kind of had to create either you had to get put on in Atlanta. That meant you were getting signed to like one of the major labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you were lucky enough, this is again, I'm dating myself, but this was like the early Wale, J. Cole, Drake era.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the idea maybe I could put myself on was just now kind of becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And so this was our attempt to bring those resources together. Adrian, stop laughing.
I think she's laughing at us doing the die line, die line, die line.
Oh, okay. I'm just,
Just a
I don't
little bit
know
of a
what,
lag.
got you, got you. But yeah, so I'm giving again long-winded. It's ultra long form content. I'm giving this context so you can see that this is a group of people who have put the time, sweat, equity into their craftsmanship.
Right.
I'm able to speak to marketing and business systems from years of either starting my own production company, starting my own, marketing agency, managing companies for now, managing platforms for corporate organizations,
Mm-hmm.
insurance companies, music brands, music festivals. Like we got experience.
Yeah.
And so in this phase, right, again, the reinvention of ourselves, we started what we call Love Academy. And so Love Academy is an 11-week program starting June 6th, where we
Mm-hmm.
meet every Saturday from 12 to 2. And one of the core members of our team, um, as well as two partners that we have in PR and web development, are going to teach sessions live. We're building a cohort of people who will teach our content. We'll take Q&As. Well, of course, like everything else, we'll have recordings available for a short period of time. And I'm really excited to be able to bring this wealth of knowledge in a way that I feel is not only digestible, but also actionable. The
Yes.
goal is by the time you finish this 11 week, because again, we're treating it like summer school. By
Yeah.
the time you finish this 11 week, like, mastermind workshop series, you will have the core components that you need to know who you are and how to position yourself, know the impact that you're making as a creative. Of course, I'm going to help talk through specific systems, both for marketing and getting clients or customers, as well as, I think, something that's really important. Talk about systems, completely glossed over this: financial management systems.
Yes.
What do you
That's an important one.
what do you do with the money once you get it?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have an honest conversation about that, where I kind of will give some insight as to common pitfalls that not even just creatives, but people, right? As a society, we're not very educated on the financial system.
Yeah.
So I'll give some I'll say patterns, financial patterns that we find ourselves in, and then I'll give the answer to those patterns. How do you get yourself out of those patterns if that's where you are?
Oh, okay. I know you can't tell us, you can't give us all the information, but can you at least give us like the names of the patterns? Like what are the patterns that you will
Yeah.
bring up?
Okay. I mean, we can get into this. So if the scenarios that people often find themselves in, you don't earn enough to cover your expenses, right? Your income, your expenses are higher than your income.
Yeah.
That's one pattern, right? Another pattern is, maybe you move to the DMV, you take a six-figure job because the cost of living, the incomes here are so high, and maybe your situation is one that your expenses are low. So you got a lot of income, right? And you don't own anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that situation. So you just cash heavy. Another one is, you make a money, you spend money. Money in, money out.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one that oftentimes we find ourselves in is, this is what you owe and this is what you earn.
Mm.
So those are typically the four patterns that you find yourself in. And what do you do when you're in the end? I just broke down in my opinion, the reason why financial advice is difficult to follow,
Mhm.
because oftentimes it's written so generically
It
that
is.
that it might work for one of those four, but does it work for where you are? So that,
Right.
again, it goes back, that's another example of fit.
Yeah. I
Mhm,
like how simple it is because, like, you can identify yourself in one of them. And
mhm,
then from there, you're now giving them different systems to address where each person is, which is
yep,
what I'm gathering from what you said, right?
yep, yep,
I love that. I really do love that. And I love it because you're you're really speaking to a part of it that I feel like it's like it gets danced around a little bit. And when it is talked about, it's not talked about in a way that actually helps people. So like I feel like there are a lot of I hear a lot of like a lot around like this whole trope of being a starving artist
mm,
or people who are they're having a hard time seeing how doing something like this can actually lead to income. And there's been this rise of creators who are showing what they're making. Like, and I feel like it was like a really heavy. I even have a friend Lloyd. He was doing that for a while. He was showing how much he was making each month on brand deals,
mhm,
and it was his way of like tracking it to get to a certain goal. And
mhm,
so I've seen a lot of those breakdowns and I've seen a lot of people sharing those things, but all of them are sharing what works for them.
mhm,
And but it's not necessarily financial advice and it's not something that you can take verbatim and follow it. It's more, inspirational and oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Like, it lets me know what's possible, but it's not
Hmm.
really giving the how. And I like that you're showing how the systems that you create for yourself, develop for yourself, can actually get you what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I love that you're showing that, like, it's really like making it practical. And you're
Yep.
showing, like, and I feel like that's like the part that doesn't get established just across the board. And I would get frustrated with that too. I'm sure you've seen it around as well and maybe have
Yeah.
been frustrated by it. Like, you're giving me a lot of information, but this is not really helping me because I don't know what to take action on. I don't know how to implement this
Yeah.
and make it practical for me.
I think that a book that I read early that allowed me to not fall victim to that was The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
I've heard of
And
that.
it's a great book, and a lot of people they gravitate to it for what I feel are the wrong reasons, right? The title makes you feel like you could work less and do more and be uber rich, and with the right system you can. So I don't want to say that that's not possible. Totally
Mm-hmm.
possible. Totally possible, especially in this digital age. But the two things that are applicable to this situation, first and foremost, are going into a system or going into a situation knowing what you want out of it.
Yeah.
What is it for me, right? My definition of success is probably completely different from your definition of success.
Yeah.
And so just knowing that on the front end, but then also a part of how he's able to sell you on the idea that you could work 4 hours a week is that you are super selective on what you do, what you intake, like media intake. And so I really gravitated to that. Like I cut the cord almost immediately after reading that book. Like no need to watch cable. I can stream what I want to when I want to, and I take that control over my content consumption.
Mm.
And so applying it to, self-help, if you will, excuse me, applying it to self-help, I also quickly learned to choose what is or isn't for me in terms of like the content that I consume. So not, and that's not to say that it's not good or bad. I just recognize like this doesn't fit what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that I don't. I feel like that's something that as a society we don't really take advantage of. Like, even being able to choose what you're interested in seeing on your feed. Like, that's something that I realized for myself. I was like, I don't use this nearly enough. Like, I'm not blocking enough people. Just, I'm not unfollowing enough people, and not being mindful of what the impact of what I'm consuming is having on me. And I think that that was one of that's one of the biggest things that I would ever get from a social media break. Even when I just like take a few hours just to do something that is not related to my phone at all. Like,
Hmm.
I got into diamond painting. So that's been fun. It's like literally like you take like the little jewels, little gems, and put them
Oh
into a design. It's
yeah.
got different
Hmm.
colors. And so I got into doing that, and that works for me because it gets me off my phone and it gets my hands into something. Or
Yep.
even when I'm sewing, like sewing is a really great thing for me because I'm in it, like I'm there, which is why I don't enjoy recording it as much. And I had to be selective even in that. Like, I know that people enjoy that content, but I was like, when it comes down to one, why I'm doing this in the first place, this really is for me first. And
Hmm.
so whether I choose to document it or not, it is for me. Like, I don't want this to become something that I feel obligated to always have to record and share. But also, it wasn't it wasn't it wasn't in line with what I wanted my platform to be directing people towards all the
Hmm.
time. Like, if it turned into a page where I'm only showing you sewing projects, that takes me completely off course from what it is that I'm doing. So, like, being able to show it every now and then, that's cool because I feel like it shows like my creativity. It shows like my style. Like it shows a lot of things, and I always have like little lessons or something from it. But overall, I felt like this was something that I want to be able to do for me so that I can create like that separation for myself where I
Yeah.
can take that time going back to the inspirational thinking where it's like, okay, like let me separate, disconnect, and let's figure out what I really think and what I feel and
Yeah.
what's been going on that I may be having addressed and just give my brain a break from strategizing and connecting
Yeah.
dots.
Absolutely. And we relate to that so well just with our matching styles. So I completely get it. I found that early, like my first career back when I first officially got into marketing, I fought so hard to get into marketing. I created love because I wanted the opportunity to showcase what I could do as a marketer. So
Mm,
my very first, marketing gig was me and my team. So that's how I was able to then build out a really dope portfolio that I would then take into creative agencies, and they all would say the same thing, man. We love your work. We love, your initiative, but we need you to see you do it for like an actual company that they had heard of before.
mm,
Um, but I bring that up because during that time, what I found was I was go, 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 go all the time. And I started taking walks as my way to like disconnect. Or in Georgia, there was like a lot of like green creeks and meadows and stuff. So sometimes I would walk out of my building and I would just go stare at the meadow, like just because I otherwise would be staring at a screen.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. There's a river that we have downtown. I love moving water. I'm very particular about my water. Like
Yeah.
a lake is cool, but a lake is too calm for me. Like I like
Hmm.
the rush and the movement of the water. There's something about it that it helps me just like really lock in or not lock in. I don't know how to describe what I'm doing, but it helps. And so I love
Yeah.
going there from time to time and just sitting on the side and just being there and just letting that be that space and that time. So
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like that's like something that is necessary for humans, but
Hmm.
I know especially for creatives, like it's important because I don't think that going back to what we were saying earlier, for one, we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do, like
Yeah.
and really like appreciate our creativity for what it is.
Hmm.
With that, not appreciating it and really being able to see it at the level that it is, we also underestimate how much it takes out of us. Like
Yeah.
working with a client, as much as I love it and I enjoy it, after that's done, my brain is not good for nothing else. Like,
Drained.
yes,
Yeah.
like that's it.
That you ever feel like that mush brain feeling? Like
Yes,
it's like somebody made guacamole up there.
yes, that is the perfect description.
And I tried so hard, right? Again, I told you I'm married to an educator. So she's like, bro, you just sat on the computer and talked for 2 hours. Like you don't I am spent,
Yes.
spent.
Not to mention the time you get preparing for it and
Hmm.
getting everything that you need for it. Like I'm done.
I can say that if that's your service and that's how you feel, I want to offer this visual. I feel like that is your um like you're pouring into, right? Like thinking
Yeah.
of like a water can pouring into like a flower bed or something. Like I don't know, it's just like how you give of yourself and your gifts. Um, Coaches, consultants, strategists, um, service providers, especially if you're like listening to a client and then having to process and then regurgitate an output,
Yes.
like that there's a heart space in there somehow where I'm taking this in, I'm morphing it in my heart space or my inner mixing my energy in some capacity, and then I gotta spit it back out.
Yes.
um
Yeah. And
mhm,
like it is like it's like multiple things are really
mhm,
going on because not only are you like listening and taking it in and regurgitating it or mirroring it, you're also getting insight into what shifts about it or where they're maybe missing something and giving a
Yeah.
different perspective. And so like it's also like the connections that you're making, which I know
Yep.
you definitely can relate to as a systems thinker, because
Mhm.
you're not just reflecting, like you're actively like
You're
solving the
finding the
problems.
gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're finding the
Yeah.
gaps. And I think that listening is such an underrated skill. It's such an underrated skill. Sometimes I think people are just so antsy to say what they have to say that they close off their ability to take in more. And
Yes.
so that's something that I really pride myself on, being a solid listener. Um, and so that way I could see what's being said, but also see what's not being said. You can
Yeah.
see the problem beneath the problem.
I love that. I want to ask you something a little different. I want to get outside of
Mhm.
the systems talk for just a moment, because you have mentioned your wonderful wife a few
Yeah.
times, and you have mentioned marriage. And I said I wanted to come back to it, and I want to
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit. And I feel like, well, you can tell me if your wife identifies as a creative or not, and like what was that like dating each other, and what was that like when you knew like, okay, we about to get married, about to
Oh,
make this thing happen, like give us a little bit of the tea on this
yo.
whole like marriage situation.
Okay. Y'all. You know how people say they married their best friend?
Mm-hmm.
I literally married my best friend. Um, we met when we were 12. Yeah.
Really?
Our families are both from Phoenix. Like they grew up together. Um, to save us time, like life split us apart. Um, and we tried to date during college. I wasn't ready, just being honest.
Mm.
Let me stand on my soapbox. This is ultra long form content. I could stand on my
Yeah, no,
soapbox.
tell the story.
All right, here's my thought, my 2 cents on marriage as it was explained to me. I like to say that I got it wrong. Like I was in the mindset that when I had to have it all together, I thought I
Mm.
was gonna be Jay-Z. Like that was I didn't know what to call it. I just knew Jay-Z was the model.
Yeah.
And so I needed to be like this super creative but super successful businessman. And I was gonna have like this high rise in the city, and it was gonna be like the Bat Tower, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever. And I mean, obviously, what I found now that I'm on the other side of it was that it's super cool to have a partner, especially when you have the right partner. That's the heavy
Mm.
emphasis on having the right partner. Um, just someone that supports you, and that sees the world in a similar way that you do, or at least in a way that is complementary
Yeah.
to the way that you see it. It just, I feel like that was the key that really unlocked a lot of things. So to get back to us dating, during the pandemic was another one of those periods that took me out. Everybody got COVID. I got meningitis. Yeah. And so the one of the key differences was, you get like neck stiffness, but because we were doing social distancing, I really didn't get the proper um like treatment to catch the meningitis early. And
Mm.
so I wound up having to get surgery. The same surgery that I recently had to have is basically a redo of the 2020 surgery that I had.
I got you. Okay.
And so when my wife found out that I was getting ready to go, under surgery, or that I had just had surgery, um, she called me and was like, "Hey, don't die." And in my mind, I know that's super weird, but in my mind, I was like, "Oh, my friend still cares about me. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool."
No, that's
So,
definitely a caring statement.
so
Like,
absolutely, bro, you can't die. And I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, "Oh,
Live.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep living." So that kind of brought us back into each other's world, and then we started dating from a distance because she was always here in Maryland. After we graduated, she took a job up here. I'm in
Mm,
Phoenix, and so we were going cross country. Um, and she, I came to the DMV, loved it. I went to Bus Boys, so when we had dinner at Bus Boys, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there. Let's go.
right.
And then she came to Phoenix, and I tell this because this was the moment I knew. She came to Phoenix. We drove up to Sedona, and we stayed in a tiny house, and we went hiking up the Red Rocks. It was like a great time. It was absolutely perfect.
It sounds like it was a really good date.
Oh, it was a super good date.
Yeah,
It
good
was a
job. Did you
great.
put
It
it
was a
together?
Yeah, we worked together. We worked together because she's
Oh,
coming
okay. It
so
was a
far. Well,
collaboration.
I mean, I had to make sure that the things that I was picking out were gonna work. Like she's coming cross country, so
You had to do it up right.
yeah, I need to make sure, validate. But even in that though, like we didn't start off seeing eye to eye just in the way we moved because we're still
Mm,
individuals, right? We
yeah,
still move differently. I'm super laid back and she's like by the book, like I-10 by 10. So
yeah.
I'm like, girl, we chilling. We just gonna go up there and go hiking. Like, what's the rush? And she's like, why haven't we left yet? And I was like, okay, we can go. Just, sheesh.
Have
Oh
a good night,
man.
Kayla.
Yo, definitely hope you catch the rest of it. Please send this to somebody um that needs to hear it. But yeah, so we go to Sedona, we have a great time, and then that evening we're in a tiny house, like just chilling. And she's like, I'm watching the way you move. I see all the things you're doing. You're producing the magazine. Like, you're in marketing. Why are you doing all this work for other people? You could just be doing it for yourself. And
Mm,
it was that statement. I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always thought about it, but I was like, oh, you are right. And
come on,
just
wife.
in that moment, I'm like, yo, couldn't nobody else get me together that way? I need to be with her. Like that's how I know. Like she's the one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't get to
Yeah,
hear that story. This is my first time
yeah,
hearing it too, y'all.
yeah. So yeah, so long story short, after that, we drove back down the hill. I had to, basically drop her off at the airport. And then I immediately went to work looking for, all right, what can I do to lean into me and just be consistent with my income? Like I need to be consistent if I'm going to have her. And I
Yeah.
kid you not, that was November 8th, 2022. I got hired by my next corporate gig, which was fully remote. I started that gig the first week of January. So from November to December, I got hired in December and started in January. And I told him, I'm like, look, if I take this job, I'm moving to Maryland. And they're like, we don't care, fully remote. Go do
Right.
whatever you want.
Why is that our
Just
business?
just log on, get your work done. All right, bet. So basically, me taking that job, um, we had like a every other month kind of cadence. And so now, okay, we're gonna meet up again. It was New Year's. Both, her family's still in Atlanta. My folks are in Atlanta. We could go to Atlanta, have a good time. But because I got this job, I already had the ticket. Instead of booking a return to Phoenix, I made my return DCA and been here ever since.
What? That is
Hmm.
so romantic. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
That sounds like a movie.
that's my story. Yo, listen, I'm copywriting the rights. So
Yeah.
Hallmark, don't you get no
Don't
ideas.
you dare.
Hmm.
Don't you dare. That sound like it need to be on Hooray.
Tubi, you know.
Everybody, mind yours,
Listen,
okay?
yeah,
I
okay.
love that. I'm glad I asked. I never really got the full story on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, again, just the way that I just value her as a person. You asked if she a creative. She's absolutely creative. She puts my creativity to shame.
Really.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, we love that.
If I turn my camera around, like everything in the house are things that she's in some form or fashion, touched. There's a wall of Legos that I'm looking at right here.
What?
That's yeah,
Oh, you got to show me that later.
yeah, I got you. I got you. Um, but yeah, so like her creativity, the way she does stuff super fast too. So like I'll get this great idea and take 6 months, and she does it in like a week.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
So she's like goals, man. She's constantly. I just feel like being synced up with her. I push myself. I see things in a different way. I see things from a different perspective. Um, and then she's just awesome. You know. And on top of that, we she's my best friend. We going to the movies after this is over, or tomorrow, sometime soon, this
Yeah. Oh,
weekend.
to see Michael Jackson. Oh
Well,
no, you saw that already.
We saw Michael Jackson this past week. This week is Devil Wear Prada 2.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I'm definitely gonna be up in there too.
yeah,
That's gonna be nice. Oh,
yeah.
and she is my birthday twin.
Y'all are twins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you told
yeah.
me that, I was like, what are the odds?
Yo, you're the second person. The person I was on the phone with before this with the festival, her birthday's also 313.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, we are some dope people. I love
Y'all
that for
are.
us.
All my 313 people are crazy dope.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I can't wait to meet her. Cause
Yeah,
I haven't met her yet, but I'm looking forward to that. Whenever we
absolutely.
finally get to link up in person again.
Yeah. Well, I'll be in Richmond this pretty soon over the summer. I told you my sister is graduating, going to college, so we'll have to put that together.
Oh, she's out this way.
Yeah, RVA, stand up.
Oh, snap. Oh, yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna be seeing each other soon then.
Yeah,
Okay, I love that. All right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the summer series.
yeah,
And I want to also just let people know that Jonathan is going to be talking to my community. We got to set
yeah,
up the date. I haven't forgot about that, but we got to set up the date. But he's going to be talking deeper about systems.
yeah,
And so I want to make sure that we let people know that that's coming up. And I want to hear more about the summer school series and like what the mission is for love. And
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So can I pit stop you and talk about the workshop that I'm gonna do for your group? Because I really
Yes.
leaned into like what I thought that was gonna be, and I refined um Flex, come on, teach this class with me. I re I refined um a presentation that was stemmed from my days as a realtor. It was formerly called How to Hustle Like a Realtor. I'm now calling it Relationship Selling. And
Oh,
so
I
it's
love that.
systematizing building a relationship and like leveraging it, not in a salesy way, because again, part of like being a super dope realtor is like you're a resource for people. You
Mm,
never know when somebody needs to buy a house, and it's not something that you do every single day, but when you need it, hopefully I'm the person you think about.
yeah.
Taking that same concept and applying it to any business, whether it's content creation, whether it's building systems infrastructure, just building websites, if it's podcast development, anything. When you need a blank, hopefully I'm the person you think about. How do I make that happen?
Yes. Oh, that's gonna be fire. Y'all
Yeah,
heard
i'm
that?
I'm super excited.
Who's excited for that?
Yeah.
That sounds like it's gonna be so good, and it's something that I literally have not heard anybody teach on. I feel like it's something that people talk about, like relationships are key and all of that.
Hmm.
But again, like that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like we got a lot of nice sayings, but who's actually showing
Practical.
us how to put that into a system that we can repeat and get results from? So
Exactly.
we in for
Yeah,
a treat, y'all.
it's gonna be dope. So back to the mission. I can speak from my perspective. I try my best to speak from my perspective. Something that I don't feel our creative careers or our creatives are really like on top of career development,
Mm,
ownership.
yes,
I feel like, influencers and content creators are like the new TV stars, right?
yes,
And so often other companies, in this case our social media platforms, look to the talent. But then when you think about like again, who's got ownership, how they're getting paid, how much are they getting paid, like you talked about earlier, pennies on the dollar.
yes.
Yep. So I really want to have a process and a platform where we can help shift that dynamic. And the crazy thing is, it really doesn't take a big shift. Something else, this is free game that I'll give. Um, I read a book called A Thousand True Fans. Have you heard of it?
It sounds familiar, but I haven't read it.
Okay, so it's a concept of I'll explain it this way. Let's say you had 1,000 people, and over the course of the year, they spent $100 with you.
Hmm.
I love talking to it with music artists, right? So you're a music artist, you put out a project and you sell it independently for 9.99, right? Remember, you used to go to the CD store and get CDs for 9.99. Um, you got a concert ticket that you sell for 25 bucks, and then you got a merch pack, right? A hoodie and a keychain and a sticker and something else that you sell 65 bucks total, right?
Yeah.
A hat. So that's $100. If you get 1,000 people to spend $100 with you, you got a six-figure income.
Yes.
And so you don't need a whole lot of people to maintain yourself if you just had 1,000 true fans. And so, you know, it makes it then it when you have that perspective, it really brings a level of like, why am I on these platforms, or why am I looking to do this if I only need 1,000 people? I
Yeah.
can find 1,000 people on the platforms. I can find 1,000 people off the platforms,
Right.
right? Um, so that's definitely part of the motivation. But moreover than that, we really want to bring um, do not
And I mean it.
die
You're right. Live.
for sure. But yeah, more so than anything else, man, we really want to be like um, the givers of guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really the mission.
I feel like that's well. We talked about this. Maybe this was Kyrie. Maybe this was off before we started the live stream,
Yeah.
but we were talking about how there is it's like basically like so much missed opportunity when it
Mhm.
comes to creators being able to take ownership, like you said, and
Mhm.
finding ways that allow them to earn an income that are not just reliant on brand deals and platform payouts. And I think that now that I'm saying it, I'm pretty sure we said that off of there, but we're saying it
I think
now.
it was,
So
yeah.
yeah, but I feel like that's been, I feel like that message is finally starting to like sink in for people,
Mhm.
and now they are opening up their minds to, okay, I'm willing,
Mhm.
but what does that look like? I'm willing, but like how do I know what direction to take it in, or where do I start? And
Mhm.
so is that something that you will also be speaking to or offering guidance in?
Yeah, it's oh, I have a class called Own Your Audience. So
Uh-huh.
it is literally one of my I've got 2.5 classes that I'm like personally facilitating, and again, the group as a whole, it's 11 weeks, so there's 11 classes, right? Um, as it relates to like the ownership and the payouts that's not relying upon brand deals, I want to give a cautionary tale. And this was my understanding as why I knew I needed to take a break and why I knew I needed to figure out a different way.
Mm,
As somebody who comes from journalism, which is connected very closely to like the news cycle, right?
yeah.
I found myself working, like I'm literally working for an organization where with reason, like it was reasonable for them to call me at any time of day because something happened in the news cycle that required my immediate attention.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I did not want to have that level of access to me by my employer. Again, I love the company I worked for at the time. I love them, but still my time is my time, right?
Right.
I clock my hours. And then also there was this ongoing sense of anxiety that I needed to always be on or always be
Yes.
accessible, could never break away. And so as I look again systematically at the process that creators are finding themselves in, I've seen so many people, high level creators, talk about burnout, right?
Yes.
Because you get on this assumption that you have to constantly churn and churn and churn content, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here you and I are, with me having taken multiple breaks for multiple reasons, but still finding opportunities to have meaningful pieces of content, meaningful dialogue that hopefully, again, far outlives us, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully this link lives forever.
Yeah.
So I want to give that cautionary tale, like that's what you could work towards if you don't figure out a better way, a way that more so fits with what you have, how you want to structure your life, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're in a phase of your life where you have the time and the space that you can be an everyday reactor to things, right? And I think that's how people, like the Joe Budden podcast is like the prime example, right? For years he was on every single day for 3 hours straight reacting to the day's news, and his lifestyle afforded him that. Yes, but he also was smart enough to build his own community of people who wanted his premium content.
Yes. Yeah.
So so again, if you are just now starting out and you don't have that group of people that can sustain you, then that's a really difficult model to implement.
Yeah.
So, not saying you can't, but you just have to, these are just things that you kind of have to think about, like how you're going to go about doing it. So, yes, I do give a couple of business models recommendations. I do kind of break down the pros and the cons of those business models in the Own Your Audience class. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you make some money in the cash flow for creatives class, I tell you what to do with it.
Period. Every step of the way. Oh, I love
Architects,
that.
architects, okay?
Yes. I love how things start to feel less scary, or they start to feel more attainable with a system.
Hmm.
And like, especially when it's a system that makes sense for you. Like
Yep.
I love that's one of my favorite things about systems thinkers is that you show us what it looks like to actually achieve our goals, and it makes it so that it doesn't feel like it doesn't just it's not just a dream anymore. Now
Right.
it's I'm walking this out, like I'm making it into a reality. And so I just want to say thank you from me and all of the other people who dominant thinking style is not systems. We appreciate your service. We
Yes.
appreciate your mind and the way that your creativity flows, because it really does show us that you can have what you want. And let me show you why you haven't been able to attain it and
Yep.
what you can do to make it happen. And I love that because of your approach to it, you're not giving some rigid formula or system that you're expecting everybody to just fall in line with. You're actually understanding the nuances and the different things that people have going on in their lives, and helping them to do that with their priorities in mind, without having to sacrifice their relationships and the other things that are important to them outside of the creating, and getting us outside of this space where we are not trapped in this race of hustle, 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 create, 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 always stay on. You never know, you like don't fall off, like this
Hmm.
whole little hamster wheel that we can
Hmm.
get ourselves on, and show us what it looks like to target it towards a specific goal. So
Yeah.
thank you. Your work
No,
is irreplaceable.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, so I see we're almost at the 2 hour mark.
Yes,
For
we
the
are.
for the effort of making sure we get you over that 2 hour mark, um, one of the questions that you had sent as we were kind of prepping for this, you asked, "What is the most Jonathan way I approach my work?" or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And just that, I thought that was a really good question. Like that was I really was sitting with how I wanted to answer that question. And
Oh, nice.
as you were summarizing just what we talked about here, what I landed on was my answer to that question. I have a genuine interest in people, in their well-being. Like, I genuinely want to know about you. And a part of how that knowledge is useful is, if I know you, I know your interest, I know, what you do well, especially, then it's super helpful in building something that works in the way that it should for you.
Yeah.
And so that's my answer to that question. The most Jonathan way that I approach my work is by taking genuine interest in the people. That's why I won't allow myself to just work with anyone. That's
Yeah.
why, like I said, you can't book, guys. I love y'all. You can't book me right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe sometime in the future I'll open up consulting slots again. Right now, that is not my priority, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And that's okay.
Yeah, but the class is. So get into the class.
The class is WeSpreadLove.com. That's LXVE.com. WeSpreadLove.com, Love Academy. It's $99 for 11 weeks. Um, Jada, your class will do something special for your group. But
Yeah. Y'all,
aside
y'all get
from
a little
a
special
little
gift for being a part of my community.
a
So
little something, something. So if y'all want the gift, you want the extra class that's not a part of Love Academy, the one I just talked about, relationship selling, go holler at Jada, go join that community, and then you'll also get the special gift for my that I'm offering her community. All right. So that's how we're gonna work that right there.
just like
Okay.
that. And I
Just
will
like
drop the
that.
link to everything down below. So you'll be
Mhm.
able to learn about the summer classes and you'll also be able to join the community. So I'll drop all that information down there.
All right, we did it. We got you over 2 hours.
Yes, we did it, y'all. Ultra long for the win. Brr, brr,
Yeah.
brr, brr. This was so much fun. Oh my god, I'm always shocked at how easy it is to just like talk for a long time.
Yeah. Yo, I can't wait. Yo, these clips are gonna be fire.
They're gonna be so good, and Riverside is gonna make them automatically. So
Oh, why have we
love.
been we've been slipping on this? We've been slipping on this.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
waking up now. I'm awake. I'm awake.
Let's let's do it.
But I appreciate everything that you have shared, Jonathan. This has been so much fun. I wrote down notes. I'm actually going to go back and like capture some of the other stuff that you said too that I was like, "Dang, that's good."
Thank
Cuz
you.
it was just so like level and practical and also relatable. Like it just was like everything was just like on point. And so I really appreciate this. I enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure
Yeah,
that the people that are here enjoyed it. The people that are going to watch the replay are going to love this too. And I'm really excited for what this new journey is going to do, not only in your life, but also for the people that you're going to be teaching and guiding, because we have to know that there's more than one way to do this thing and
yeah,
that you really can see success in it on your own terms. So
absolutely.
thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining, keeping the chat going. I love it. I love it when y'all talk to me. I appreciate it so much. So thank you to everybody that showed up. Adrian, Antoinette, Kayla, if you were in here, you didn't introduce yourself. I still saw you in here and I appreciate you coming too. And I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yes, thank you for having me. Y'all take care.
Bye.
And I like to end mine. I wish you all peace, love, and always seek expertise.